And we are live. Welcome to this episode of Wealthy Wednesday. Today is going to be incredible. I'm super excited for today's conversation because it is really highlighting one of my favorite conversations, which is about debt. We got to talk about debt. This might be a little bit uncomfortable, but I promise you, if you stay here with us, we go through the process. Listen, you know me, I got you. We're not putting you anywhere that you don't want to be. If you have debt, you know somebody that has debt, you want to come on to this conversation. I want to know where you're tuning in from. Are you joining us live? We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Where are you tuning in from? We want to hear your questions also. If you have questions about debt and what you can do and what are your solutions, today's guest, I'm super honored. I've been trying to have this woman on my show for quite a while, and we go way back. When I say way back, we go way back to the LinkedIn audio rooms. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. If you're on Facebook, that's okay. We love you. If you're on YouTube, we love you there too. But if you're a part of the LinkedIn community and you remember what these LinkedIn audio rooms were, which were incredible, they've kind of gone the way of the dinosaurs, but her and I connected on there, and I always enjoyed listening to her rooms. She's such a woman of elegance and grace, such an inspiration. And what we're going to talk about today is going to be incredible because we're going to really talk about the debt, right? We're going to pull back the curtains. We're going to take off the gloves. This is a real conversation, but we're going to walk you through it. Don't worry. Like I said, I've got all of you. Great to see you, Sharon and Jackie. Oh my goodness. Great to see you, Plantine. I'm going to bring your comments up. Eric, oh my gosh, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. So my guest today, she is the CEO of Infrared Vision on a mission to change the mindset of the 40-plus community from fixed to growth, empowering them to feel that they are truly living and not just existing. Using her proprietary Vision Point strategy, she transforms her clients through the process to redefine, rebuild, and restore their mindset and live their best life. How many of you want to live your best life? Listen, debt is no joke. I see many people who are in retirement or on the verge of retirement, and they still have student loans. They still have credit card debts. They still have a mortgage. That is not a true retirement. Just so you know, I call that a boomerang retirement. So please give it up for my incredible guest speaker, Miss Mesha Mebane. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Take it away, Miss Mesha.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I was joking with Leah before we came on. I said, glasses or no glasses? So I think I'm going to do without glasses today. Just don't say hi to me because I can't see you.
That's okay. I'll read the comments for you. You're good.
She'll call out the names for me. So I'm always wearing glasses. I think today I want to do without glasses and smile at you and wink at you so you can see me. Plus, my light gives a glare on my glasses, so I just took them off. I wanted to say hello. Thank you for having me today, Leah. And you're right. We go way back into the audio rooms where, you know what? I really miss those audio rooms. I miss the collaboration and the connection. I had just started building that kind of rapport last year. So I used to see your pretty face on a picture drop in all the time. And you didn't have a lot to say, but you were a great listener. And I appreciate you being persistent and having me on today.
Absolutely. I want to welcome a few people who've joined us. Officially, I want to welcome a few of our guests here. Eric Doby, thank you so much for joining us. He's going to be a guest speaker, and he talks about the 512s. Actually, I think it's the 612 now. But it's an incredible system that he's created. I want you guys to learn from him. Follow him. Please connect with him. Also, the great Miss Jackie Holberg, thank you for joining us. And she does many audio rooms and many events. And she's going on a tour right now. She's always taking us on her travels. Where are you going to next, Jackie? We want to know. Everybody wants to know. Where is Miss Jackie? Where in the world is Miss Jackie? And then speaking of debt, if you are burdened with student loan debt, there's a lot of things that are changing. Please reach out to Miss Sharon. Listen, student loan debt is something you don't want to navigate on your own. You need somebody who can advocate for you and really help you to navigate the maze of student loan debt and student loan forgiveness. It's not as simple as a lot of people may lead you to believe. So who else do we have here? Paula. Oh my gosh, Paula, my good friend. Well, Paula and I feel like we're old souls here. Me, all three of us could have a great conversation. Paula, I just met literally yesterday, and I feel again like she is a soul sister of mine, a sister from another mister. We actually talk about some of the exact same things. She showed me her ebook, and it's really some of the stuff that I say verbatim, which is really, really cool. And that's really what it is. You know, we talk about mastermind and collaboration, but really it's about us truly having these conversations and connections. And I truly believe that collaboration is the new currency. It's us being willing to take a little bit of a step back and highlighting and showcasing someone else. And by the way, see my little baby's breath here. This is in honor of Miss Mesha because she's got her beautiful rose, and I have my bouquet up there, but I wanted to. I just think that's so. Isn't that so adorable? I mean, look at how elegant she is. So we can learn from one each other is what I'm saying. So share with us, if you will, Miss Mesha, what is the infrared vision, and what really is your mission?
Okay, so my mission is Infrared Vision was born in 2018, and it was born out of my getting past the cancer scare in 2017. So I had my life on the line. I had a cancer scare. And basically a year later, I was sitting at my desk, which is red and black. I should take a picture of it. It's 25 feet long. The top is black and the legs are red. I'm true to the brand. So I was sitting at my desk one day and basically was thanking God for my life. And I started getting downloads about just really the 40 plus community, to serve them in a way from a mindset perspective. Because when I was growing up, I'm 59 and I just turned 59 in July. And when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of education about mindset. I came across the concept of mindset through studying about the person who was the original person, Carol Dweck. And it made me realize that growing up with my family, my peers, my friends, we never really talked about mindset. And mindset has their sayings like mindset is everything, like a cliche. People go around saying it, but I don't think they really understand there's education with mindset. There's so many types of mindsets, my dear. There's about 25 core ones. I've studied at least 15 of them, but infrared has adopted at least 5. And then I have my own registered trademark for infrared vision that I design is a 3 R's mindset, which means to redefine, rebuild, and restore. And I think that's important for the 40 plus community to hear today, because we go through a lot of adversity in our life. And I think by the time you hit your 40s, you've experienced a lot of adversity, such as becoming an empty nester, basically some career experience and some changes, divorces or marriage or whatever the case may be. You experience a lot of adversity. And it was important to me to come up with a concept in my training to redefine, rebuild, restore, because I am the perfect avatar. I've been through layoffs. I've been through a couple of divorces. I've been through loss of a child, my one and only child in 1996. So I have spent my time redefining who Mesha is, rebuilding who Mesha is, and restoring. And that goes along with finances. And so each time that you have a lot of adversity, it does impact everything all the way down to your finances. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just kind of thinking about this. So you're serving 40 plus, which means you're serving millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers, which they all
correct.
have their own different financial nuances. And what I
Right.
see in baby boomers, like they're looking at really wealth transfer, they're winding down, they're having hard conversations, the ones that they've been postponing, they're putting the finishing touches on their wills and living trusts. And they really are probably the last generation of having pensions, like truly having pensions, full social security, and now they have the additional stuff that they have with a lot of wealth in their real estate. Gen X is hoping to inherit some of that, but a lot of that is going to bypass. This is what I'm seeing. Don't come for me. It's going to bypass Gen X and it's going right to their grandchildren, which is the millennials and Gen Z. I would say out of the trust that I have set up this past year, 80% of them are doing exactly that. So you're dealing with a lot of different mindsets. And then millennials are very much into nomads. They don't want to really purchase homes. So let's kind of break down a little bit of the mindset on each one of them if we could do. Is that okay?
Sure. I will say that 40 plus, I kind of deal in my area deals more into the Gen X, Gen Z. I haven't had a lot of millennials come to me. You're welcome to, but basically it has been from the 40 plus in terms of who has fallen into my schedule in the last 7 years. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Jackie, look at you already booking more guest speaker opportunities here, Miss Mesha. We're just getting started. I would love to. I would be honored to have you on. I absolutely would be so honored, and it would be an even greater honor to be a guest on. And I'm sure you could talk to Miss Mesha. She's incredible. So let's talk about what are some of the core foundations that you teach about the mindset when it comes to money.
Okay, so a lot of what I've run into with the 40 plus community is that they have adopted, and not all, so be careful. I use my words carefully. Some, not all. Some have what I call a fixed mindset. So they've always done things a certain way. They're stubborn about change. Okay, and so and basically they kind of think like it's always going to be this way. I used to be like that. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Before I moved to Maryland in 2000, after my first divorce and the loss of my one and only daughter, I call myself the fixed mindset, Mesha. If you would have talked to me 20 years ago that I would be self-employed in my early 50s, I would have laughed at you and said, oh no, I'm going to be, going to a job every single day. I'm going to be clocking in somewhere every single day. So the fixed mindset, Mesha, who came from Dayton, Ohio before 2000, I'm a reveal. That's who I was. So a lot of my clients and prospects tend to have what I call a fixed mindset, where it's always going to be this way. They're not very adaptable to change. And so therefore you have to really kind of hold them with kid gloves to walk them through to even entertain a growth mindset. Concepts when it comes around money, a lot of people really want to I wish I could pull it off of here, but a lot of people want to put a mask on when it comes to financial and money. You can talk about, oh, the sky is blue. Oh, I want to travel to Turks and Caicos one day. When you start talking about money, and I'm sure you come across this yourself, some people act like crickets are in the air, and some people are slow to open up to you. That's why I was excited to have this conversation with you, because when you start peeling back the layers and taking off the mask and dealing with the truth and really facing it. For instance, I've had 2 layoffs since I've been in Maryland before I became a full-time entrepreneur. The first time I didn't deal with the finances and the debt very well. The second time I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? This is a hot mess. If you don't mind me using just point blank period English, it's a hot mess. I mean, the finances, the savings, the debt. And I said, I'm never coming back here. And I believe when I looked in the mirror and said that to myself, that's when I shifted to what I call a growth mindset. It's because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I started adopting beliefs like, I'm going to keep this car when I pay it off. And I'm now driving the same car in 2011 today that I bought this car in 2011, and I keep it up, and I'm still driving the same car now. The fixed mindset Mesha in the old days bought cars every time she paid off the loan. She went to the next car, the next car, the next car. But I will tell you, I started changing my mindset about what am I signing my name to? Am I signing my name to more debt? And then I started dealing with what was the power of having real estate under my belt. Then I started dealing with the fact that the credit card debt was not going to serve me in my future. And this is what we teach in Infrared. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm talking about money from a mindset perspective. And until you start dealing with your mindset, right? Until you start dealing with that mindset, then is only when you can start to change and move forward and even develop solutions where you can lock in to say, hey, you know what? My belief for Infrared is as you move into your 60s, you should no longer have any credit card debt. That is one of Infrared Vision's philosophies. I haven't put it out there enough. I will do that in 2026. But then why I say that is because a lot of people, at least last year, there were reports out there through COVID, and it's growing, that 68% of the population of the 40 plus community are nowhere near prepared for retirement. So until you deal with that mindset, including myself, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I am in transition as I'm teaching. So I'm practicing what I teach. And I saw my coach's face on the bottom there. I don't have my glasses on, but I saw her face. She will tell you, I practice what I teach. And so what Infrared Vision's philosophy is that once you deal with that debt and you move it out the way, then you're kind of freed up to have many different options for someone to come to you and help build solutions. So I'll turn this back over to you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so true. And this is one of the reasons why my ex-husband is my ex-husband, because we had probably 20, I don't even know, over 20 credit cards. And his philosophy was that as long as we can make the minimum payment, it didn't matter what the balance was. And it just, listen, the number one cause of divorce is a lot of times due to financial, and that definitely played a big role. And what I see is if you are carrying credit card debt, and I'm going to say debt of any kind, but especially credit card debt, that's that insidious debt. People don't understand if they're just making that minimum payment, it's that hamster wheel. They'll never get off of it. They don't understand how compound interest works. And so that $5,000 in credit card debt, if you're paying 20% interest, it's doubling. That balance is doubling every couple of years, and you never really can get out of it. And then what they do, which I think is just a bigger trap, is they say, oh, Lee, I paid it off. I'm like, oh, good. How did you do that? And they'll say, well, I did a debt consolidation. I pulled money out of my house. That is not paying off your debt. That's switching it from one pocket to the other. You still owe that debt. And think about this. People have had job losses. Now, can they keep up with that credit card debt? They may have a reduced income. Maybe hours are cut. Right now, we have a shutdown. People can't even put food on the table. What's happening to those credit cards? So very, very true. I love where you're going with this. I want to actually highlight a few more people that we have that have joined us. We have the incredible, of course, Miss Nick Guy Galindo. She is our guiding brilliant writer. If you're looking to write a book, I'm telling you, she's an incredible publisher, wonderful person, and just somebody you absolutely want cheering for you. That's all I could say. Connect with her, please. This is a networking event. I want you to, anybody who's showing up, feel free to connect with each other. Let people know what you're doing, because I promise somebody is looking for you and what you do. And then my queen, Coach K, thank you for seeing. Oh my gosh. So Coach K has this award, which is the Golden Rose Award. So I think you and Coach K, absolutely, you've got the rose thing going on. To talk to each other. And then, of course, my good friend, Chris Monastery, thank you for joining us. He really has a heart to save teen lives through his own story of adversity, a lot of distracted driving. And I know he says teen lives, but I say how many of us, I can put my hand up, have succumbed to that distracted driving, text message and things like that. So connect with him. He's got an incredible website. And then I can't even believe this person that's here. Oh my gosh, the great Joshua Lee. Joshua Lee created Chris's website. You got to check it out. It's very, very cool, very professional. Thank you for joining us. He hosts a networking event on Tuesdays. I'm not sure if that's going to be every single week. Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Heck, check that out. You're trying to get to know people. This is a great way for you to connect and collaborate. So what I'd like for you to talk about is what is the, because usually when people come to me, I got to be transparent. When I first started in this industry, a lot of people came to me with lots of credit card debt and things like that. Most of the people I'm working with have little to no debt. And so it's really easy for us to quickly get them out of debt. But what would you say to somebody that is feeling really burdened right now? They've got lots of credit card debt and they're feeling hopeless. What is some of the mind shifts that they need to make?
Well, first of all, what I find is a lot of shame comes with that. You know, like when I had a lot of credit card debt, and I will say that shame is something that will keep you pressed down. Okay. So first of all, you have to forgive yourself. Okay. Forgive yourself and let's move on, move past it, because I had to do that same thing. But the reality is that I find that people don't want to deal with the true number, meaning they'll have this amount on this card, this amount on this card, and this amount on another card. So they feel like, oh, that's some kind of flexibility, or they're only looking at their credit card limit. And so if there's limit left, then they feel free. But the truth of the matter is that is not your money. That is somebody else's money. And so when I looked at it for myself to train through infrared vision about dealing with it, dealing with your mindset, first of all, a lot of people don't like to really hear this terminology, but you have to ask yourself, other than fixed and growth, in the middle of it, and it's not your fault. It's probably the way that you were raised, how the people around you felt about money. But I have to ask the questions like, do you feel like you may have a poverty mindset or a scarcity mindset? Because you also, that's another type of mindsets that you have to deal with, is because really it's about how you feel about yourself in terms of money and how the people that what you grew up around. For instance, I come from a silent generation. Me and my coach talk about that all the time. My parents didn't talk to me about money growing up. They didn't talk to me about the hard times. I kind of knew that there was hard times based on what was on the dinner table, but no one really sat me down and talked about money. Basically, I moved out when I was 17, so I've been paying bills since I was 17. So I really hit the streets running, so to speak, with really no financial literacy. So I became a bill payer. I feel like that I still am in such a way, but also I have changed over the last 5 years to whereas I have to sit my prospects and clients down, much like I've done myself, and say, what is the whole number of your debt? I'm sure you've done that too with what you do. But until they face the whole number of that debt instead of the pieces being broken up, that's when they sit back and they go, wow, I've never seen the whole number. But again, you should eliminate the shame, because here's what we're going to do. And I've taught my girlfriends this and they love it. With infrared, we try to convert it to a percentage. So if you would have talked to me like 8 years ago, I could have told you that I was 100% in debt. But with infrared vision, I teach you to convert it over to a percentage if that's easier for you to deal with. So my statement today is Mesha is 60% out of bad debt. Okay, so if that helps you deal with it. But what I tell my prospects and clients is, as you're walking yourself out, celebrate with small wins. Like for me, I've gone and got a smoothie if I hit a certain target and drop the top of the car that is paid for. Notice I say the car that is paid for. Let me emphasize again, I've been driving the same car since 2011. It's a convertible Beetle. I no longer go out and buy cars because I feel like, where is my money going? Does each dollar have a job? And now that I'm more mature now, I'm 59. And if you're not prepping for retirement, I don't have rich family members. I don't have a rich mate. In fact, let's speak about the single women who are aging out here, just like me, who need to think differently and have a growth mindset about their finances, because they may not have a husband or they may not have kids like me. There's a lot of women out there right now asking themselves, what am I going to do about my finances? Well, the one thing I would say, Leah, before I turn it back over to you, is stop going around the same old mulberry bush. It's time to stop and think about the way you do, or you are spending your money and doing things differently. Like, for instance, I'll give you this example. I just told somebody the other day, with everybody's hard times right now, or people that are struggling, for me, I'm a heartfelt person. So I feel for the person who can't put food on the table right now. I said to a girlfriend the other day, I am not a consumer. There's two things I'm going to afford within this next year: to keep my curls fluffy and nice. And the other is to basically continue to get out of bad debt and move to solutions. Like, maybe I'm going to talk to you after this show, move to solutions that are really going to build up my future. And the reason why I tell people to try to get out of debt with the infrared vision philosophy by the age of 60 is because you still have about, depending on where you're at, about 7 to 10 years to still redefine, rebuild, restore, the 3 R's mindset that I talk about. Go ahead.
You look at it. Look at how gracious she is. Can you just see how elegant this woman is? I absolutely adore your grace. You're just giving me all these women vibes. A few things I want to highlight here, especially this comment by our Queen Dr. Leslie Flowers. So you talked about having like a percentage. I like that. Looking at your debt, if that helps you, that feels a little bit better. I like to have a one-page financial snapshot for my clients. I like them to see, I never believe in budgets. I believe that word should be banished. I think that is punitive. It makes us feel like we're being punished. I like to talk about a spending plan. So I want you to see where all your spendings coming, income and outgo. And then I want you to be able to easily see where your debts are, everything you owe, mortgage, student loans, everything. And then all the retirement, all the investments. If you can see that on one page, what happens is what we track, we expand. If we bring awareness to it. I never tell my clients they can't go to Starbucks, you can't do this. Miss Mesha, absolutely, we need to invest in the celebration, whatever that celebration is. But what I find is that when we bring the awareness to it, people will, through osmosis, make decisions, newer decisions. When they start to see that their debt is going down and now they see a different percentage there, when they start to see their savings and investment coming up, then they start to recalculate, hey, what if I didn't do this? What if I didn't spend this money on this thing? And then what happens is they will self modulate and regulate, and then they never resist it because they're doing it. It's self impunity, right? They're doing their own kind of punishment, if you will. I love this also. Two things I'm going to say, and then I want to highlight our Queen Dr. Leslie Flowers comment is Gen X statistically, which is my generation, has no money saved for retirement. Let me say that again. I'm 60 or 59. We're both Gen X. And they have little to no money saved for retirement, and they still have debt. They still have student loans, car notes, and mortgages, let alone the credit cards. They still have that significant debt. They owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I want to also say this is frightening. The biggest population of homeless is women, Gen X women. That's the biggest rapidly growing sector of homelessness is our Gen X women. We got to change that. We got to flip that. And I love this comment here. Our Queen Dr. Leslie Flower, she does her mindset, Mind Over Matters on Monday. She also teaches us Think and Grow Rich. Right now, she's teaching us about goal setting on Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific. You got to jump on. If you want to improve your 2026, you want to set some goals, now's the time to do it. She says the fear of poverty is the number 2 fear. It's one of our basic fears, that fear of poverty. I'm curious, Queen Dr. Leslie, and I'd love to know, Miss Mesha, how does that impact women specifically? Are there some certain nuances that are kind of more exclusive to women?
Well, I mean, women and men, the thing of it is that, you have to start making better decisions, like where are you going to put your money to give it a job? I mean, I love to talk about women in the terms of when I was laid off a couple times in Maryland, which is kind of scary because the house that I'm in, I almost lost it 2 times. The first time I didn't have savings, right? So I had to beg the bank to keep it. The second time I did have savings, but I was laid off so long that I had to exhaust the savings in order to keep everything in balance. But I will say about women, when you go through a transition and a hardship in terms of financially, you really have to adjust your mindset and say the things that you did when the money were flowing, like maybe getting your hair done every week or 2 weeks, or your nails, or whatever the things that you were used to doing, you have to start looking at those things really, really hard and stop and eliminate those kinds of things. Consumption. For me, I'm not knocking anybody else. I'm only telling you from my experience. I never bought $1,000 purse. I never bought a $500 purse. I probably had never owned a purse over $50 because I feel like, why would I buy a designer purse that was more than what I had in savings? You understand? That doesn't make sense to me. Why am I going to go out and buy $1,000 bag and I don't have $1,000 in the bank? And during COVID, I read a lot of articles where people would make anywhere from $100,000 to $400,000 and don't really have $1,000 saved in the bank. So it never made sense to me. For the last 5 years, I've been carrying backpacks. I love carrying my backpack, and people laugh at me. It's a cute little size, but the reason why I can pull it out is because I'm saving money every time I go to the grocery store, because I have my bags stuffed in my backpack, so I don't have to spend money on bags. I mean, you got to think about strategy from the essence of pennies, nickels, and dimes, all the way up to dollars and lots of dollars. You understand? So what I'm saying is, are you going to be a consumption kind of woman? Maybe that might have worked in your 20s and your 30s, but you really have to wake up around your 40s, 50s, and 60s if you don't have anybody else to rely on, and say, I've got to start spending habits differently. There's really no way around that. When I was laid off, I eliminated all extras so I could keep food on the table. I may have had to wash my hair a little more often as opposed to when I had income. I may have had cut out the nails or whatever the case may be, whatever those things are. It's not because, again, eliminate the shame. What you should be excited about is celebrating it, saying, hey, I now have some defined boundaries that I never had before because I'm trying to use my money differently. So therefore, I can save for my future self. I always say that bad debt will rob you of your future day needs. And yes, let's say that one more time.
Yeah.
Bad debt robs you of your future day needs. And that's the reason why I'm saying I'm 60% out of bad debt. And every level that I get, whether it be the when it was 100% in debt, when I got to 20% out of debt, I celebrated. When I got to 30, I celebrated. When I got to 40, I celebrated. Now I'm 60 and I celebrated. And again, that was with the smoothie and drop top on the convertible car that was paid for the last 10 years. And I rolled out, put my Frankie Beverly in, the music or whatever. Whatever that is for you is once you get on a path or that mindset to back yourself out, really, you should be thinking about the party you're going to have. Because the vision, the infrared vision behind being out of bad debt is, guess what? Once I get on the other side of the thing, imagine this, that you have two, three, four, five, $10,000 a month coming in, whatever your level is, right? And you don't have to write those checks to that middleman person, that enemy, which I call credit card debt, that is all positive income that can roll right into, after you have your fixed expenses, can go right into your bank savings and investments. This is what, when I started changing my mindset, I said, why do I need this middleman who robs me of everything that I've earned every single month? Why do I need him? I call it him. Why do I need him in my pocket? So therefore, you have to start to think differently, move differently, break up with him, and get on the other side of the thing so you don't need him anymore, that you are fully in control of your finances. Back to you.
Ooh, Miss Mesha, you're just dropping gold bars everywhere. I love it. I love it. And I love that you talk about the pennies, the nickels, the dimes, right? Because I believe in the power of the penny. Do you know if you took a penny and you doubled every day for a month, you'd have a number too big to quantify. Here's the thing. Sometimes we think we have to start saving and investing with piles of money. Maybe you start with 1 penny. Maybe you start with $1. It's not the amount, it's the intention you put behind it. And then it's a celebration. I think that's something that doesn't get enough talked about. It doesn't really get highlighted enough. It is imperative that you celebrate your wins. If it is that you forego the hair or whatever it may be, and you put those dollars towards paying down your debt or putting it towards an emergency fund, making those mind shifts are critical. So let's talk about, if you could, you talked a lot about shame. How do we eliminate that shame? Give us like maybe 1 or 2 tips on forgiving ourselves, or even know if are we harboring shame? How can we find out if that's something that we need to address?
Well, the shame will no longer serve you in growth. So again, you have to go back and forgive yourself. Whatever you used to do, we're going to call it used to. You're going to have to do that mindset shift and change. You are going to have to redefine 3 R's, how you see money. You're going to have to rebuild your ways of thinking, of how you have relationship with money. And then the restoration part is the conversion of the 2 R's, moving into redefine, rebuild, and restore. So restoration means I no longer what I used to do, but I'm restored to a new way of thinking so you think and move differently. But dealing with the shame is like dealing with an ex-husband or ex-wife. Let it go. That was then. This is now. So how do we move from this point on forward? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. It comes with some affirmation. So, fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're beautiful. We've all made mistakes. We've all fall short of whatever it is we want to become. I'm not perfected. I'm still growing, and I'm glad I'm still growing. I'm glad I started a business at age 52. The 7 years have gone fast. I'm glad that I am the perfect avatar to infrared vision because I'm evolving as well. And I only surround myself with the people that can help me support my vision, meaning that you will find that as you start making mindset shifts and change, there are some relationships in your circle that will no longer serve you. So my circle has gotten smaller, and I'm happy about it. I celebrate it because we are of and like minds. We don't have any judgment zone. We don't have any shame. We just define what we're trying to go after, what we're trying to do, and we happily support each other. Sometimes people are not going to understand your debt-free mindset, right? But I can say that I have family members right now. My mom and dad, they fully own the deed to their house. My younger brother, he fully owns the deed to his house. I've spent the last 5 years paying down my home mortgage. I am 50% into ownership of my own home. And I hope the other 50%, I know God will show me a way to pay that off and own it by the time, hopefully, by the time I'm 67. Okay. I have a vision of getting a deed in my hand by the time I retire. So the thing of it is, it takes time, it takes work, but it takes persistence and patience and grace with self. And so I would say to anyone, just let's work on the mindset. Let's work on the mindset shifts so you can move to change because they need to come to you so you can give them true solutions. Without that mindset change, you're going around the same old mulberry bush. Now, I would like for you to tell me in your world, what have you come up against when people don't do the mindset shifts and change? Have you ever had
Well,
that struggle?
now these days when people come to me, they're ready. And so they do what's called the Goonies. I call it the Goonies. Did anybody of you ever see the Goonies? It's a great movie. But they'll tell me, they'll come on and they'll say, when I was in third grade, like I spent my lunch money. I don't know if you guys remember this little episode of the Goonies. The little boy is being held captive and they tell him, tell us everything. He's like, everything? Okay. When I was in third grade and when I was in fourth grade, so people will come to me and they'll tell me all the things I didn't do. I should have held on to that house. I sold at the wrong time and all these things. And I say, okay, that's so yesterday. Write those down. We're going to tear them up and throw them away because today is a new day. Usually when people come to me these days, they're ready. So they've done some homework. They understand they're going to pull off the Band-Aid. They know I'm going to tell them the real deal. And they also trust that I'm going to take care of them. But I would say every now and then I will have someone who will reach out to me and they're not in the right mind shift. They're not ready for it. And what will happen is nothing I will put in place will stay. And I really look to not, how can I put this? I pick my clients. There was a time when I would want to help everybody and everyone. And there's sometimes when people are just not ready for the conversation. I have to send them to people like yourself, Miss Mesha, because they have to do that work and really let go of that shame and understand what got you here won't get you there. If you say you want better, we're going to have some hard conversations. I promise I'll make it palatable, but we have to really look at what is the real thing. What are you really spending every month? What do you really have in that debt? Just like you alluded to. What's the real number? I know you've got a credit card that you don't show anybody. I know there's a student loan you're not paying on somewhere. I know you don't think your mortgage is debt. I get that. People tell me that all the time, but I want to see anything you owe is debt, in my humble opinion. Anything you owe to somebody, and that's biblical, then you understand the ramifications. What are you stealing from your future? Who are you stealing from? If you can't afford to put food on the table, or you can't afford when a family member needs help, because I truly believe that I'm the one in my family to change my family's last name forever. And anyone who comes into contact with me, I believe that they're supposed to be the dynasty builder in their family. So with that being said, I would say that most of the time people are coming to me, they are ready. But if they're not, and I can kind of filter that out, then I understand that they need some coaching first, right? Go get the coaching first and really peel that back before they're ready to do the financial. Go ahead.
I like to drop this and say, you can't shake a hand with a closed fist. Okay. You can only, you're right. You are right in saying that I will only work with when ready folk. You cannot shake a hand with a closed fist. When I find out you have a closed fist and you're not even going to consider opening up your mindset, because a lot of people take a defense, especially as we get older. The people over age 40, we're the most guilty in terms of, oh, you can't tell me. I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. I'm not trying to tell you how. I'm only suggesting, because if you ask, you came to me. So if it's working for you, then you wouldn't need to have the conversation. But if you've been doing the same thing in your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s, and you and I just talked about this the other day before we got on the live today, there's a lot of people, and you have to, and we can't see you, but point to yourself if you don't have $1,000 laying around in your savings account right now. Point to yourself. It's not a guilt thing. It's just it can tell you what you're doing in terms of your money. If you can't save $1,000 and just leave it sitting there, we have to remind ourselves, money does not have an emotion. Let me say that one more time. It doesn't have an emotion. So if you put money in the bank, money is paper. It doesn't have an emotion. You give it emotion because your personal feelings about it laying in there. You see what I'm saying? So I will say that I get happy now. I'm almost addicted. Don't you laugh at me. I'm almost addicted. I wish I could pull it out now. When I get letters in the mail and says, this $10,000 loan was paid for on January 2nd, 2024. I do have one. I'm getting so addicted to these letters coming in the mail going paid, 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 that I just dance around this desk. And so therefore, again, that's another thing. Do you want to be excited about your debt-free living? Or do you want to stay in this dysfunction, which it is what it is? And I didn't get there until I was 48. I just told you earlier at the top of the hour, I'm 59. So again, get there. Just get there. I don't care how old you are. Just get there and say, you know what? I throw my hands up. I am sick and tired of me, and I have to do something different. Now, I will say this before I turn this back over to you, Leah. There is definitely a gap in coaching. I don't care who it is and the client. There's a gap between I want and actually implementing a thing. There's a gap, and there's a whole lot of people desiring certain things right now, but are you willing to do the work to close the gap, to get to the other side of a thing? Are you willing to do the work? Because you giving up on yourself, people say, oh, coaches, it doesn't work to hire a coach. Okay, that's your mindset. But really, what doesn't work is for me to have a client who doesn't want to follow through, take the time to do the work until the completion of a thing. And that's where I find that there's a gap between the desire, the actual action, and the implementation to the finish line. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I always say begin with the end in mind. So I love that you're talking about it. What we speak about, we bring about. You're talking about having your mortgage paid off, right? And when we start to put it out there, you never know what will happen. You never know what divine intervention will come to you, what opportunity. Maybe you get paid the exact amount. You do a book or you have an event and suddenly you receive a check for that same amount. And I'm blessing you with that. I'm like praying that for you, right? So that you receive that check and now you can write a check for your mortgage. We don't know what opportunities are there because sometimes we can't see them. We're not aware and awake because we're burdened by debt. We're thinking about that car note. We're thinking about that student loans. And so when those opportunities come and those hunches come, we just kind of pass them by. Remember, those hunches come by as a whisper. And sometimes that whisper will keep going and it'll bless someone else. So be aware. It's time to look towards your debt without judgment and understand that now is the time we can reset it. It doesn't matter if you're in retirement. If you still have debt, there's still hope for you. If you're just starting out and you say, I don't have a lot, there's hope for you too. And if you're anywhere in the middle, there's hope for you. It's understanding how money fundamentally works. And that is, it's not good or bad. It's what our intention is with it. Money doesn't make us anyway. If you're a good person, you'll be a better person. And if you're not the person with good intentions, then it's going to highlight that also. That's what I've seen. I love this comment, Miss Nick. This show is so good. Thank you so much. I don't know where this hour has gone. We're kind of winding down here. If anyone has a question for Miss Mesha, please put it in the chat here before we get ready to sign off. So what would be something, say somebody that just doesn't even know where to start, where's a good starting place? Like they really want better, but they're just not sure if they're ready for coaching. What's some good litmus tests that they know that they're ready to start making some different decisions, some upgraded decisions?
Well, first of all, if you want to be coached, and I use my words intently, I'm a very intentional speaker. If you want change, okay, you need to search out the right type of coach for you. There's tons of coaches in the marketplace, but you need to be intentional and find the right coach for you. Not everybody, I never say I'm for everybody, okay? I may not be your cup of tea, and that's fine, but find the right type of tool that's going to help you. Now, I use the name of my business intently in a lot of my marketing because an infrared vision, if you study about infrared light, according to the government terminology, is the only light that allows you to see in the dark. And so vision, you need to have an infrared vision, period, about your life. You need to understand what is in the dark. Debt is part of that darkness. What is going to bring you into the light is to become debt free. Now, infrared light brings the heat. There's 20 healing properties to infrared light, and it brings the heat before it brings the healing. You need to study up on that. Google it today, you guys. I challenge you. Infrared light has 20 healing properties. So an infrared vision could possibly, if you take it seriously, bring you 20 healing visions to your life. And one of those is to be debt free. Be on fire. Be on fire about becoming debt free, because I want you to have a vision and visualize before you even start to do it. Visualize yourself on the other side of the thing.
Mhm.
What would you do if you were bad debt free? Design that vision, right? And then back into it. Because that's what I had to do in order to start to shift my mindset. I was like, what would I do if I had $5,000, $10,000 a month coming in every month, and I didn't have the middleman robbing me? What would I do with that? So, therefore, I need you to design an infrared vision about your finances. What would you have to say about that?
Oh, I love that because I believe in infrared life. So I love the infrared vision. When I saw that, it immediately resonated with me because I understand about the healing properties. And truly, most of us, a lot of us in this country do have financial cancer. So when we talk about healing, it truly is a healing process that we have to go through. You're not going to go from being a big spender to having lots of debt and 20 credit cards to being somebody that's on a shoestring budget. You never go out to eat. You just don't ever spend it. It's not going to work. You might do it for a little while, but you're not going to see it through to the end. And the goal is to see it through to the end. So we have to understand that we have to look towards our money and really look at it without judgment, just see where we are, what we're spending, what we owe in debt, and what we have in our saving and investing. And when we can really be honest with ourselves, that's when we can begin the healing process. Until then, we're going to be that boomerang. And we've already done that. We've already seen that. We've already done that. We know that it's just that hamster. We just keep spinning our wheels. But when you're ready to turn towards it, you're going to be willing to make different decisions, and you're going to be willing to have those hard conversations and without judgment. Love on yourself. We did what we knew at the time. Now when we know better, we can do better.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid. There's a lot of free things out there, but if free worked, and you would say that, Leah, if free worked, then there would be a lot of debt-free people right now. You sometimes you have to pick up a tool and invest in yourself to get a different mindset about X, Y, and Z. Don't be afraid to do that. You know, I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, and then I'm done. Is people want free right now for some reason from A to Z. Free is not going to advance your future, especially in this artificial intelligence environment. I'm going to just say it. Free is just going to have you be free. If you want free, great. See how far that gets you, but you really need to start investing in yourself and finding the right tools to help you get to the other side. I don't understand people, including myself. I put myself in there, but I'm glad I made a change, going around the same old mulberry bush each decade. These last 7 years that I've been in business have gone by like a snap of a finger. And so you have to pick a year where you just say, you know what? Enough is enough. I am done with this type of behavior, and make a decision to move in another direction. Because one thing we're not going to get back is time. And if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, you have more days behind you than you do ahead of you. And you have to look in that mirror and ask yourself, when am I going to change?
Absolutely. Well, you've made a lot of new fans and friends. People are going to want to reach out to you. They're ready to make that change. What is the best way for people to reach you, Miss Mesha?
You can email me at info@infraredvision.org, or go out to www.infraredvision.org under Contact Us and schedule some time to talk to me. I am not a person that when you have a conversation with me, I have any type of judgment. I don't actually try to sell you anything when you speak to me. My philosophy is, you know, if you need a mindset shift and change. So therefore, I only win ready people. And so therefore, we'll just have a point blank, open and honest conversation and then go from there.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Also, please put it in the comments after the event so that people can also click the link for you. Well, that's going to do it for us for this Wealthy Wednesday. Listen, this was our year to rise up and thrive. We're a fourth quarter. There is still time for you to turn towards your money and make a new decision. I truly believe if you're here, it's because you're the one in your family. If you're connected with me, if we're friends, if you've been watching my posts, I truly believe that you are the chosen one in your family. And what I mean by that, in every family, they go along status quo until the one shows up. And that's the one that changes their last name forever. Maybe that means you're the first one in your family to get out of debt and be that example of living a debt-free life, totally, completely out of debt. Maybe you're the first one in your family to send your kids to college or buy a home. I don't know what that means for you, but somebody is tied to your red wagon and they're hoping and praying that you succeed. They may be doing it secretly because they don't want to really confess that they're rooting for you, but that's okay. You got to root for you. Sometimes we have to rah-rah ourselves. So if you're ready to make that decision, listen, this is the year we're going to thrive, and 2026 is around the corner. We got to get in the mix. We got to get ready. We got to put ourselves out there. We got to come out from the shadows. We got to start commenting. We got to start reaching out to the people that are put in front of us for a reason. It's at least worth a conversation. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate all of you for showing up. I appreciate all of you for the comments. We're here every single Wednesday where we talk about wealth in all areas, in your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your fun, philanthropic, because I believe that givers gain. And the last F, because I know F is, some of my favorite F words, food. I'm a foodie and I believe that we should have good quality food. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you. We thank you so much. Join us next week. And that's going to do it for us. Remember,
are you a business owner looking to secure your financial future and create a lasting legacy? I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional, and I specialize in guiding businesses with up to 50 employees on how to effectively protect and transfer their wealth. We break down silos with my unique approach, the wall of wealth. Imagine a seamless collaboration among your CPA, tax attorney, estate planner, and insurance expert, each playing their part in perfect harmony, ensuring your financial strategy is not just effective, but a true masterpiece. My passion stems from my own journey, from growing up on food stamps to dreaming of building community centers that empower others. Together, we'll craft a roadmap that not only safeguards your assets, but also nurtures generational wealth for your loved ones. Let's transform your vision into reality. After all, you can't measure the heart of a champion just by looking at them. Join me, and let's make your financial future shine.